This is Life Transformation Radio. Prepare to engage. Seatbelt activated. Download initiated. Your quantum journey of transformation begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. Hi, I'm Rob Actis, best-selling author of The Law of Action, voice actor, business mindset coach, the podcast whisperer, and Mr. Action himself.
This is Life Transformation Radio. Prepare to engage. Seatbelt activated. Download initiated. Your quantum journey of transformation begins in 3, 2, 1.
And overcoming. On the show, my guests are amazing people who are forces for good in the world around them and live a life of transformation. My guest today does just that. Today, Juie Rami and I discuss how to create a sacred balance in your life. If you want clarity, balance, and creativity in your life, this is the show for you. Juie Rami is a creator of Sacred Balance Project, a storyteller, a podcaster sharing stories of transformation. Oh, I love that word, using science and technology for total well-being. We're live on Clubhouse with a studio audience. Juie, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Thank you so much, Rob, for having me. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely. It's kind of cool. So we're here on Clubhouse. We have an audience, and what happens on Clubhouse doesn't necessarily stay on Clubhouse. So this call is being recorded. This show is being recorded, and we're glad to have you here in the audience, and we're glad to have you up here on stage with me. So welcome to Life Transformation Radio. Glad to have you here. We met on Clubhouse, which is kind of cool. The power of technology and social media. Gotta love that.
Yes.
So welcome. And I love what we're going to talk about today. The
Yes,
sacred balance in your life, clarity, balance, creativity, all the buzzwords that I love. So let's just dive a little bit into where you came from. So you were born in the U.S., and where did you hang out?
I actually was born in India, but I came here when I was young. And, I went through just like everybody, high school, college. And then I moved to Philadelphia, and I was, just happy. I was always content with my life. But I was seeking deeper answers. I wanted something more than what normal people call, just having a job, a home, a family. I was seeking something deeper, something that could truly transform my life is what I was seeking. And that's what this is all about.
I love it. So growing up, were you a little different than your family members in your seeking of that inner peace, the clarity, the universal activity that you could feel rumbling deep inside you?
Absolutely. I always knew that what I am is much more beyond my body and my mind. There is something within me that, the Creator himself has put in, whether you want to call it in form of creativity, in anything that is beyond just what you'd call normal body and mind. And that is what I was seeking. What is that about? When you close your eyes and sit down, you know that you're more than just those two things. And that's what I wanted to figure out, what it is all about, what this life is all about, what the magic of life is all about is what I was seeking.
I love that. So were you sharing that with your family and your friends as you were growing up?
Yes, actually, I was very close to my father, and he was a prominent newspaper guy in India. So he had access to a lot of things, like whether you call it spiritual gurus or masters or forms of yoga or whatever I wanted to pursue, whether in in the form of music or creativity. And anyway, he was very supportive, and he deeply understood this quest that I had within me. And he made many things possible for me to pursue those avenues.
That's really wonderful. That's really wonderful. Now, were your friends as open to hearing about your transformation, to finding more about your spiritual path?
Not really. I would say no, because I always found my friends to be wanting to fit in, wanting to, let's say, as I grew up and went to college, always wanting to go out or clubbing or just normal, what you call just drinking and being happy. And I was seeking something even beyond that. Right. Yes, those things are great, and you want to enjoy and you want to socialize with your friends and have fun. There's nothing wrong in it, but something beyond that. What else could I tap into that could bring me to a next level? Because life is all about pushing those boundaries and going to next and next and next level. And that's what I was seeking.
I love that. Now, you did eventually go to India and you had a journey there. But what was it like before you went to India? Were you doing meditation? What were you doing? Gratitude? What were you doing as you prepared? Little did you know you're preparing to get to India.
I was actually just very happy living my life. I had a beautiful home and a wonderful life, and just very content and just living my life. And my dad made it possible when I told him, Dad, while he was still alive, I said, can you set up something where I can go to different masters and different schools of yoga, something that nobody even in India knows about? Introduce me to people like that. Introduce me to technologies like that. Introduce me to these transformational possibilities that could truly change my life. Introduce me to those kind of people and things. So he did do that. Wow. Though I didn't meet anyone worth, dwelling into. He did his best, but at that time I did not meet anyone. And then I came back and started living my life and was just happy-go-lucky, very content. I've always been sweet and peaceful within myself. But as I said, I was still seeking. I still had some questions that were unanswered, and I wanted to tap into that next phase of my life and see how I can figure out some answers, deeper answers that bring me even more clarity, more beauty, more joy, more bliss, more possibilities that I haven't even yet imagined is what I was seeking.
Wow. And then there's a transformation in your life, and then all of a sudden you discovered what you were seeking.
Yes. So one day I was sitting in my, living room on Sunday morning, having brunch, just enjoying my life. And I was watching a PBS station where, they play cultural programs during Sunday afternoon, like around 12:30. And I was watching that program, and one interviewer came on to interview Sadhguru. Now, Sadhguru is a mystic visionary. He's a yoga master. And he came on, and as soon as my eyes laid upon this guy, I was hooked, as if this is a real deal. Someone just real has walked in. And with the clarity with which he spoke, the things that he said just blew my mind. And I knew in that moment I needed to take inner engineering. That was the transformation technology that he was offering. And I was like, how could I tap into this? Where can I learn it? How can I really, make this available in my life? So at that time, inner engineering class wasn't readily available. So I waited, and just like everyone does, I watched his YouTube videos to get more familiar with everything, all the technologies he was offering in the form of yoga and well-being. So I did. And then the September 2016, a class of inner engineering was being offered in Philadelphia area. And I took it, and I've never looked back. My life has been transformed in the ways that I cannot tell you. Like you go to optometrist's office, and, when they say 1 or 2,
oh, yeah,
and the clearer line comes up, my life
it never comes up for me. I'm like, okay, this one or this one? Yeah. And I go, do it again? And they go, this one or this one? I'm like, okay, are you playing games with me? Because I don't see the difference. And he goes, it's subtle. Yes. And I go, this one? Oh, yeah, exactly. But eventually, it's amazing, and this may be your spiritual way, is that that you look at it and then you kind of relax, and then they go this one or this one. I go, oh, that one,
Yes.
this one or this one. And when you get out of your head and just into your being,
Yes.
I think that's when things open up.
Yes. And you know that line, that's the clear one? I was living the blurry line before where, things were just blurry. And when inner engineering technology came into my life, everything transformed and the clear line became clear and clear and sharper. Now my path to freedom, possibility, new beginnings, new things that I haven't even imagined for myself are opening up. For example, you coming into my life and me reaching out to you and saying, Rob, let's do this together. I would have never imagined that like several years ago. So these are some of the examples that are opening up. Things just start aligning because the lubrication of whatever you call the introduction to the creator within myself has taken a new possibility, is being reborn every second I practice this technology. And it keeps transforming me, keeps renewing me, keeps rejuvenating me, keeps just pushing me forward beyond my wildest imagination.
That's incredible. So share with me what exactly inner engineering is. You mentioned yoga, but
Yes.
I know nothing about it. So is it a yoga practice? Like I'm familiar with hot yoga and yoga. Tell me more about what this is all about.
Sure, of course. Inner engineering is a 21-minute yogic technique given by Sadhguru, and you practice it every day. And it's in a form of yoga. You do some, yogic postures, and there's some breathing involved. There's meditation at the end involved. So it's a 21-minute practice that is taught to you, that's imparted into you. It's like a chip that's downloaded within you. You go through the initiation process, and you just imbibe that. And every day you practice this, the more you nurture and do this practice every day, it takes a new blossoming form and it just develops into a beautiful flower each day.
I love that. Well,
yes.
One of the things we promised is that we would talk about the sacred balance in your life. So
Yes.
what does that mean to you?
So, I think sacred balance is when everything in your life is aligned, your mind, body, emotions, and energies. When they're aligned, they do the best for you. Whatever is best meant for you starts aligning and happening. And without balance, imagine, when you're dizzy and you're trying to walk or go up and down the stairs. Can you imagine doing anything without balance? So balance is aligning your emotions, energies, and everything, all those 4 dimensions into a complete alignment. And that's done through the inner engineering technology. So essentially balance is being introduced to that technology and aligning your whole system.
I love that. Yeah, it feels really good. I was in martial arts for a long time, and one of my most favorite things was closing my eyes, and you have to balance in different
Yes.
ways. And
Yes.
it was really cool. It was almost it's funny because now I think back, it was a very spiritual experience because when you get in the right mode and you just relax,
Yes.
it's very easy to balance.
And you said a key word, when you relax. So what inner engineering technology gives you, Rob, is it gives you ultimate relaxation. Let's say you didn't sleep well at night, right? You sit down for 21 minutes and you do this yogic technique. You will feel like you slept for 6 hours after those 21 minutes. That's
amazing.
how much it relaxes you. It brings a level of ease that you haven't imagined. Everything in your life becomes filled with ease. Like I am speaking to you right now, other people are in the room. My focus is just you and me and how I can just be at total ease, and just whatever means, that I need to say will just flow through me. And that ease is so beautiful because when you're at ease, so many things you can do, right? So many things you can balance, so many things you can juggle with, and you don't have to worry but when you're constantly in stress, no, you're not at ease, right?
Absolutely. It's interesting. So I just did a podcast this morning for my other podcast, which is the Living the Law of Action show. Had a very good friend of mine on, and his name is Noble Gibbons. And we were talking about this very same thing. So when you're stressed and you're in an emotionally upsetting situation, you get into the mode of fight, flight, or freeze. And what he was talking about, and I think this is perfect for this conversation, is that he's in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's an older guy, and he gets into bouts with younger men and younger women. And what happens is he's a blue belt, and you come in as a white belt, and the new people come in, and they're I will say in essence fighting him, whatever. They're bouting with them, and so when they're doing it, they're like, and they're using all their energy, and they're doing all this, and it's like, oh, is that? And he's just all very calm. And what he was saying was, and I think this is so powerful, that when you're in that hypersensitive mode and you're in the panic mode of fight, flight, or freeze, those are the only options you see. However, when you get calm and you have the balance of that, you're in a calm, clear mental state, you have lots of options, even hundreds of options of ways that you can compete. So the balance in your life when you get that calm opens up so much more, because when you're in those heightened states of panic and the cortisol level is going off in your brain, well, you can't see the forest through the trees. You can't see anything. It's almost like you have blurred glasses on. And when you take a moment to breathe, then the whole world opens up.
Absolutely. This is what this technology does. I'm often so blissed out, but at the same time so active. It amazes me that I'm in when people smoke pot and when they're in that blissed out mode, right?
No. I don't know I have no idea what that means to like ingest that.
Smoke.
No, I have no idea. I've heard about it, but no, I have no idea. Never. I've never heard of that. Yeah. I have friends that may know, but I don't have any idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know that blissful feeling that you have, but at the same time, you're so active. Like,
okay, I'll admit it. During the pandemic, my friend gave me these gummies because I love gummy bears. Had no idea they were special gummy bears. And I was very blissed out and very, very calm and just like, wow, I don't care that the world is falling apart. I just don't care. It's okay. I'm like going to laugh some more. Yeah, no, I understand that. And, but at
the same time, what this technology does is not only you're blissful, but you're active and aware. What, marijuana does is it kind of dulls you a little. Yeah. And that dullness, I don't fancy. I want to be blissed out, but at the same time, when I got to do things,
really
I want to be able to do things.
Yeah.
And clarity. I want to be so blissed out that when I'm active, I don't even, the stress doesn't even touch me. That's the kind of blissfulness I enjoy. And that's what this technology does. And if you notice, most of the Americans don't sleep well. What this technology has given me, I sleep like a child, and I only need like 6 hours. I'm up and about and ready to go tackle, whatever I need to do, embrace the world with a smile. And it just keeps me rejuvenated and refreshed. I sleep better, I sleep deeper, and I sleep less. And at the same time, I'm blissful during the day. And I'm like, wow, if I had found this when I was in my 20s, when I was seeking, when I was bugging my dad, we come from India. All these yogic technologies come from India. Introduce me to some of this stuff, Dad.
Right.
I didn't find it then, but I found it, later, which is, I'm still very grateful. But those who are listening, let's say, all your listeners who may be younger and seeking,
but you know what they say? You know what they say?
Right.
When the time is right,
yes,
the teacher will appear.
Will find you.
Yes.
That's exactly what happened to me.
This is a higher level of consciousness, and you might not have been ready for it.
Yes, possibly not. Maybe I needed to roam about the world before I was ready.
Well, or maybe you needed to see these other people and know that this is not the path that you're to go on. Because imagine for a moment, I always like to do this. Imagine for a moment, 20 years ago, you discovered inner engineering and it was too much and you this is not for me.
Yes,
And
and
then
maybe gave it up and didn't give it a thought again.
and
Yes.
look at how different your life would have been,
Yes.
because you
Yes.
already decided that no, it wasn't for you. So now 20 years later, how different your life would be, because now you discovered it.
Absolutely.
But if you discovered it in the past, you would have just said, no, it's not for me.
Yes, because I was so hungry for it. I was so ready for it. I embraced it like, no tomorrow. So it has done wonders for me because I embraced it in its full form in a complete wholehearted way. And I practice it with utmost devotion towards it. And it flowers, it blossoms every day. It transforms my life.
That's wonderful. Now, the Sacred Balance Project, is
Mm-hmm.
that, tell me more about that.
So we focus on 3 different wings. At the moment, we're focused on 2. We bring in stories of transformation from all across the world, people from all walks of life, people who have been touched by this, yogic technology of 21 minutes called inner engineering. And the second wing we have is environmental awareness. So we work with farmers and different people who are, doing organic farming and doing more, creating more awareness for a better environment all around us. So that's what the balance is all about, environment and yoga.
I love it. Okay.
Yes.
So in your bio, you say you're a storyteller.
Yes.
I love stories. Life
Yes,
is
me
about
too.
stories. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Are
Yes,
you ready?
Go ahead. Yes.
So I would love for you to share with me
Mm-hmm.
a story, just a few minute story, but I want to hear you tell me a story.
Okay.
How's that for putting on the spot? I'd love it.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. So once upon a time, there was a lady who came on my podcast. She was a cancer survivor. She was so weak, so feeble. And one day, her friend kept sending her, different videos from YouTube and music and different things to make her feel better. She would look at it and just be, she was a little bit irritated by everything, chemo and everything that she was dealing with. And she was a little turned off by everything her friends were sending to her. So she just kind of, overlooked it and didn't give it a thought. One day, another friend of her sent her something from YouTube and requested her that please just take a look, see what you think, just for my sake, just for a few minutes, take a look and take a listen. So she listened, and as soon as she listened, she was just mesmerized by everything that was being said in that video and the sounds and the music, and then she listened to one on YouTube, then she listened to another on YouTube, and then she listened to thousands of them. And then she came across a chant, which was a consecrated chant, and then she couldn't stop listening to those chants. And she kept going, and something started transforming within her that she became so curious about this that she decided to go to India. Now, before she wanted to go to India, she wanted to find out a little bit more. So she contacted the center here in Tennessee, Isha Institute of Inner Sciences in Tennessee, and she said, I need to do this. So they told her, well, you need to first take inner engineering before you progress onto this path, because that's the first thing that you need to learn, this 21-minute yoga technique. So she was so feeble, so weak, she couldn't drive. Nothing was available in her area in Florida where she was. None of the classes were being offered at that time. Just like me, she had to wait. So she looked around, and then she started taking first the inner engineering class online, because the 7 first classes were available online. So she took those. And then by her surprise, after a month or so, all of a sudden, where a class had never been offered near her suburb, where she wouldn't even have to drive that far, a class of initiation into the Shambhavi practice, the 21-minute practice, became available. So then she went there and took the class and again, never looked back. She, while being a cancer survivor, went to India, took a part in consecration process with Sadhguru, and then came back and wanted to meet Sadhguru and ask him certain questions about death, because death for several years came up again and again for her. She was facing death in every way because she was recovering. She was going through a pretty severe type of cancer. And the doctors told her, if you go through this and if you come back, this will be a miracle. And she did, because she had the support of this technology of yoga. And she transformed her entire life because she, again, wholeheartedly embraced this and brought this technology of yoga into her life. And it brought her true well-being, and she lived happily ever after. Now she creates pranic-based recipes where she creates beautiful, yummy food by the beach where she lives. She practices this particular type of yoga given by Sadhguru in the form of inner engineering, and she is blissful and happy as ever. End of story.
Nice. Very nice. All right. So if you want to learn the 21 minutes of this yoga technique, how long does it take to learn the inner engineering? Is it like 21 minutes or 48 minutes or weeks or months or years?
No. You just need a dedicated 30 to 36 hours of time. So first you take the 7 classes online.
Okay, I love it. Wait a minute. Okay. 36 hours to learn a 21-minute technique.
Yes, because this is the most authentic and tried and tested form of yoga, coming from the inventor of yoga himself, the Adi Yogi, the first yogi himself. Wow. So this is a very authentic technique, like I said, truly time and, tested for all.
So is this mindset of this 36 hours, or is it also the forms? Because I know.
So yes, you do go through 7 online classes.
Okay.
Which, yes, those exactly, Rob. It sets your mindset to receive the technology. So you first go through 7 online classes, and then you partake in the inner engineering initiation process, and that's also a few hours that you go through, and that's where you learn the actual technique of 21 minutes. But to even teach you that 21-minute technique, we have to spend certain amount of time with you so you learn the technique properly, because anything that you do, only if you do it correctly, it works. Correct?
Right.
If you're tightening a screw, you need a proper form of screwdriver. You need to know which way to turn. You need to know how to tighten it in order for it to work. So just like that, this is a tool. Inner engineering is a tool and technology for your total well-being, and that brings you transformation on all levels. So you need to learn the technique of 21 minutes properly. And for that, we need to spend a certain amount of time with you so you learn it exactly the way you need to do it.
Now, are you just a practitioner of inner engineering, or are you also a teacher? Is it part, or are you part of that, or are you just someone who just shouts from the rooftops because this transformed your life?
I don't teach it, but through my podcast, I share stories about it because, like,
so you're just shouting from the rooftops. I love it. I love it.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, I don't get the Isha Foundation or Sadhguru doesn't pay me. I do it for the love of the practice.
No, it's awesome because
practice transformed my life. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure someone who's listening might go, "Okay, this is like a paid advertisement." This is a paid advertisement for inner engineering of trans. No, okay. But I think that's great. You just,
yes.
If you have something that's going to make your life better and lead you to have an incredibly life transformational moment, and then future, I can see how you would be shouting from the rooftops. That's pretty incredible.
Yes. And no gimmick, no paid advertisement. This is not even a philosophy. This is not a religion. This is not a dogma. It's a pure science and technology of well-being in the form of yoga.
That's very cool. All right, we talked about clarity, balance. Now, my favorite word, one of my most favorite words, in addition to transformation, which you have said many, many times, so you're definitely on the right podcast, is creativity.
Yes. Well, before I took inner engineering, I could never imagine having a podcast for myself. But because I was practicing this yogic technology regularly, This was just born in the pandemic through creative process. Right people came and showed up to help me launch it. Right people came to become guests. Right people still come up and help me with the tech aspects. So a lot of creative things just flower within me in everything that I do. My Twitter is always buzzing. My Instagram is always buzzing. I create multiple content. I enjoy creating stories, telling stories. So a lot of creative things are happening within me. And I give full credit again to the inner engineering technology that brings that creativity. The creator within me becomes alive to bring the creation forward.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing. So you have a podcast, and it's called
Sacred Balance.
Oh, so the podcast is sacred. I thought that was your process, the Sacred Balance Project. Okay, got it.
Yes.
All right.
Both are Sacred Balance.
Oh,
yes.
so it is
Everything
2 for 1. Okay, it's
balance.
2 for 1. Okay, got it.
Yes. Yes.
I understand. Okay. All right.
Yes.
And then if they want to reach you, they can reach you on Instagram at sacred_balance. And that's kind of cool. I got you.
Both underscore.
I got you.
Yes.
All right. Well, Juie, thank you so much for being here today. I really,
Absolutely,
really
my
appreciate it. I think it's fascinating. You know, it's interesting because when the time is right, the teacher will appear. And people have maybe never listened to Life Transformation Radio, never been in the room here in Clubhouse, and all of a sudden, look what they're listening to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool. All right, we covered...
Thank you so much, Rob, for having me.
You're welcome. We covered everything. The sacred balance in your life, clarity, balance, creativity, and we got a story to boot. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
So much
Juie, for
fun.
being here today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Rob. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for your support and taking the time out of your busy and precious day to listen. We so appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me, along with my very special guest, Juie Rami, to touch your heart, move your soul, and inspire you to live a life of transformation. I'm Rob Actis. Until next time.
This is Life Transformation Radio. Download complete.